special guest joining us as we begin the program this afternoon, the man who has been at the center of the revelations, as we learned from the head of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Devin Nunes, revealing that President Obama's intelligence agencies apparently were improperly spreading significant information about the president-elect and his transition team. I'm speaking, of course, of Larry Klayman, former Department of Justice attorney, Freedom Watch founder, and before that with Judicial Watch, as I said, a central figure in the revelations, I should say, about the surveillance on President Trump and his team. Larry, first of all, kudos to you for bringing this information out, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate your having me on.
How did this information initially make its way to you, Larry?
Well, I was approached by investigators who had been working with a whistleblower by the name of Dennis Montgomery. These were whistleblowers in Arizona. These were investigators in Arizona that were working with Sheriff Joe Arpaio. And it was in that context that I met Dennis Montgomery, former NSA CIA whistleblower, a contractor rather, who left with 47 hard drives, over 600 million pages of information, which showed massive surveillance against prominent Americans and the American people, called harvesting. That's how Mr. Montgomery put it.
Right.
The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, other justices, 156 judges, President Trump when he was a private businessman, and even yours truly. They got my banking records down in Miami in 2007.
Holy cow.
And, yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. And I, of course, had brought a lawsuit before that where we preliminarily enjoined the NSA and other government defendants from this mass surveillance that was revealed by Edward Snowden. We got 2 preliminary injunctions in federal court in Washington, D.C. People see that at freedomwatchusa.org, freedomwatchusa.org. Anyway, make a long story short, I took Montgomery to the FBI with the help of federal judge Royce Lamberth, who knew the general counsel, James Baker.
Right.
We then got immunity for Dennis Montgomery to come forward with those 47 hard drives and 600 million pages of information,
so that he could share that information with the proper authorities, and something could be done about it.
That's right. I can't see it. You know, it's classified. I wanted people who could see it to analyze it. And to follow up on that, we also got Montgomery immunity. I did that through the U.S. Attorney in D.C., an assistant U.S. Attorney named Deborah Curtis. We got him immunity to come forward and be interviewed under oath by FBI special agents William Giardina and William Barnett. And he was interviewed for 3 hours under oath and videotaped. Montgomery has a brain aneurysm. He can die at any time. The FBI has been sitting on this, and this investigation was being run at the highest levels underneath FBI Director Comey through the General Counsel Baker. They've been sitting on this for 2 years, and nothing has happened. And this would show widespread surveillance similar to what President Trump claims happened to him while he was president-elect and now president. It shows the pattern of conduct, and it shows that, in fact, he was illegally surveyed as a businessman.
Right.
So this is very important, and I wrote a letter on March 21st to Chairman Devin Nunes of the House Intel Committee. You can find that on our website again at freedomwatchusa.org. And I said, bring Montgomery in, have him interviewed in a secure room with people with security clearances, and get the truth here. And I've done the same thing with the White House. Bring him in, listen to him, to the source, because he will give you the roadmap of what's been going on. And much of what came out with WikiLeaks in the last few weeks, Montgomery knew about.
Right.
So you need to bring him in. And I'm expecting, hopefully, a response today from Chairman Nunes. He's inviting whistleblowers to come forward. He's hauling FBI Director Comey back for a closed-door session next Tuesday, as he should, because Comey was not honest. I believe Comey's covering it up. He tries to throw a bone, to both political parties, but in fact not serving the American people. I also believe that Trump should fire him and put someone in there immediately who's independent, who's going to do the job. He's not serving anybody's interests right now. At one point, he may have been a very ethical and honest guy, but somehow he went south on that. And it's an outrage what's going on. So we need to get to the source.
Absolutely, we do. We're talking with Larry Klayman, who's former Department of Justice attorney and now founder of Freedom Watch. Larry, from what you have seen, from what has been uncovered, it appears that this is the point in the storyline where it moves from President Trump and any existing or non-existent connections to Russia, and instead turns the storyline to criminal activity in the Obama administration.
Absolutely. And you have to assume, Bob, when it's at this level, we had James Clapper, DNI, Director of National Intelligence, John Brennan, head of the CIA, very ethically challenged, to put it diplomatically, people who are implicated, and minions of the Obama administration. You have to assume that President Obama himself knew, or should have known. And this will go all the way to the top. And I hope that for the first time in American history, we finally hold our chief executive accountable. We have never done that. Israel has sent prime ministers to prison. Brazil has done the same thing. Somehow in the U.S., we delude ourselves into thinking that we're more virtuous than other countries, but we're not. And this is the biggest scandal in American history because there's a sword of Damocles. There's a dark cloud hanging over the American people. President Trump, how do we function? How do we do our job? How do we continue with the freedoms in our republic when this big brother, this George Orwell-type government, which Judge Leon actually found when he ruled in my favor in cases against the NSA, is sitting up there and can blackmail anyone that they want with dirt that they dig up?
Yeah, the breadth and depth of this, Larry, is truly stupefying. I've been saying for weeks now that this is going to make Watergate look like a day at the beach. You, of course, have called for Director Comey to appear before Congressman Nunes and the Intelligence Committee to explain his apparently duplicitous answers under oath, by the way, about the surveillance on the president and his team. Now, as you mentioned, Congressman Nunes has asked Comey and the NSA director and others to testify in a closed-door session because of the level of secrecy surrounding many of these documents. Does this make you fearful in any way that we will never fully understand who ordered this surveillance and why?
Well, it does, because the intelligence agencies, I believe, have known about this, too. They're complicit.
Sure.
And the people in Capitol Hill are worried that these agencies could dig up dirt on them and smear them, as they did President Trump and others. Look at General Mike Flynn has lost his job as National Security Advisor.
Right.
So I'm not saying there was dirt on General Flynn, but people are fearful. What do these people have? Everybody has something in their background they don't want out publicly. So we need to impanel a grand jury. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who I believe is a very honest man and courageous, his number two, he recused himself from this, is going to be Rod Rosenstein. He needs to put Mr. Rosenstein, who has an excellent reputation, in charge. They need to impanel a grand jury, and they really need to follow the evidence wherever it may lead. And I hope to work with them to do that, because we need to get to the bottom of it. And I hope, if I may say, Bob, that your listeners call Chairman Nunes, because I'm hopeful that he'll do his job. Call him at 202-224-3121. That's the U.S. Capitol. 202-224-3121, and tell him that the American people are counting on him to get the truth out of FBI Director Comey, out of James Clapper, who's going to be in front of that committee, out of John Brennan, about of all the Obama minions, and to even subpoena Obama himself. But first, bring in Montgomery. Listen to him. He's got the roadmap to what's been going on. You have to do that. So call 202-224-3121. Deluge the Capitol with calls from the American people, because that's who we represent, not the politicians in Washington, D.C.
In a way, Larry, I hesitate to say this, but because it involves a level of cynicism that I hate to go to, and yet, should we be this surprised to learn what's been going on? I mean, given the fact that we saw very explicitly during the Obama administration how they would weaponize various functions of government, whether it was the IRS going after conservative groups, whether it was the EPA, no matter what it was, should we be that shocked that apparently it's also extended to the intelligence agencies and illegal surveillance?
No, we should not, and we cannot be naive. And even President Trump himself, he held out his hand of peace. He held out an olive branch. Obama's over in Colorado in Washington in his mansion now.
Right.
You know, he always criticized the one percenters, but I guess he's enjoying being a one percenter or whatever.
Apparently.
He's got Valerie Jarrett, his former aide, his Middle Eastern aide in that White House, helping him. He's got George Soros, the evil billionaire who, along with his dad, took property from Jews going to their death in concentration camps during World War II, a self-hating Jew, a really evil person. He's got the ACLU, who says nothing about this, but they had a problem when there was surveillance of their Muslim clients years ago and brought a suit which wasn't successful like mine, but now they say nothing. It's the entire left that's up against him, and Obama is at the head of it, and he's running an alternative government out of this Colorado mansion orchestrating things like the puppet master. And frankly, he needs to be held accountable. It needs to go all the way to Obama. And it's about time that the bar of justice fell on these people, because either it's Trump or them at this point. It's either the American people or them. We have a president. We have to respect him. I'm nonpartisan. I like what he's doing. I didn't endorse him because I can't. I'm head of a public interest group, but I like what he's doing. I think he's going to be a great president. We can't allow the left to destroy him. And frankly, either we legally destroy the left or it will destroy us, the American people.
There is no question at the end of the day that what you have discovered and have revealed to the American people, Mr. Klayman, is a very big deal indeed when the President of the United States is spying on a opposition party political candidate through the course of the campaign. It doesn't get much bigger than that. Larry Klayman, again, his website is freedomwatchusa.org. Larry, thanks very much for taking time to join us today and bring us up to speed on this. And thanks for your efforts in assisting and getting to the bottom of this.
My pleasure, Bob. God bless you.
God bless you too, sir. I appreciate your being here today. This is far from over. We are only in the beginning phase of this, and let's hope that it is not quashed or squashed in the intervening days and weeks ahead. We need to get to the bottom of exactly who ordered this and why.